fuel filter wrenches. I know you're going to love this. It's a really difficult thing to get the oil filters and fuel filters off these coaches. Almost all of them, the main oil filter is going to be embedded up between the whole, the oil pan and other parts of the coach. So we're going to look at the choices that we have of all these kinds of oil filters and oil filter wrenches and fuel filter wrenches, with the objective of figuring out, when we're trying to solve the accessibility problem, which do we use? Well, it's another hot day in Texas while we're demonstrating oil and fuel filter wrenches. Just take a quick look at this one and you'll see it has kind of a flat leverage surface. And so when you get that around the filter, depending on the direction you need to either tighten or loosen, you're going to be using that surface against the filter to get a bite on it and then to rotate. So first of all, you have clearance problems all the way around, and then second of all, you have this clearance problem to get a filter wrench over this filter. Now the beauty of those that you can unthread, those little belt type filter wrenches, you can simply unthread it, wrap it around, and thread it back through in the filter wrench itself. Now, what do you have for swing room? You got a frame member right here. That's going to make it hard. You got very little rotation to the front and to the back. And so the filter wrench that I would choose on this is going to be a ratchet type filter wrench, and we'll go look at those in a minute. Here you might be able to get on a belt type, the little hand twist unit. This is fairly easy to get at, and with a little bit, I put these things on just a little beyond hand tight. Now for the smaller fuel filter, I'd almost say a smaller, handier belt type that can be fed through. This one you can literally just feed it out from that little grip right there, and that would probably give you enough hand swing room. Look how much bigger this one is. And so for small access area, I would say that one probably will work. This guy's too big and there's no swing room. Now here is a trick, and I don't have it in the large filter size. I have it for this filter size here, see? This is a pivoting oil filter wrench. That pivots one way or the other, and so for direction you can literally rotate it. But this handle, like this, it's a whole lot harder to work with, all right? You need swing room, but if you've got it clamped on there and then you have this handle pivoted down, you can get around it in a whole lot less swing. And all right, so the difference between this one and this one is a non-pivoting. So you'll see the handle can't be snapped down like this one is. All right, so there's your standard oil filter. Now look, or fuel filter. Remember that your fuel filters and oil filters on these Cummins 400s, 450s, maybe even the 340 and 80, that's a bigger diameter than your standard car, right? So you're going to need a bigger filter wrench, probably the biggest one you see in the auto parts shop. And hopefully I have one with a pivoting handle for that guy. All right, here's two more. Now, what's the difference between these guys? This one has a continuous band in it, right? And so you literally are going to get this around the filter if it'll fit. And in this case, he does. And then you're going to put a ratchet extender right up through the bottom of this. That's a 3/8. And so what I do is if this is on the bottom of the coach this way, then I slip this strap up over the top of it like so. That's point. I've got about a 10-inch extender, and so I'll be on my back under the coach with that 10-inch extender and a ratchet with a pretty big body on it. And that's because I can get the handle down and out of the way, and I can put some muscle on that if this guy is stuck. I love these kinds of filter wrenches, and in tight clearance this would be my go-to with a long ratchet extender. That one is a 3/8, some of them are bigger. All right, now finally we get back to a big heavy belt type, and this is one that you can unthread. You'll see this one is a continuous loop, so you can't actually undo it, it's stitched. But look over here. This guy, this is a big beefy oil and fuel filter wrench, and you can literally get this around your filter. I'm just going to kind of simulate it like so. It then goes through this pivoting body here. Can I do this with one hand? There we go. Apologies. And now you're going to have, from the bottom, you're going to have that 1/2 inch extender. You know, this is upside down, so it's going to be on your back, on the bottom of the coach. That's a good way to get at it. But you could probably use this one also turned around to where that access point is aiming up. And you get that ratchet and put the extender on it, you know, maybe a 10-inch or more, where you got room to swing your ratchet handle, and now you can put some real power on that filter and get it out. So the trick with oil filters and fuel filters is getting to where your leverage, for instance, when you have this old school kind of handle, there's no room to swing that handle down there. But if you've got an extender on this type and it's a foot or 2 feet up, now you've moved your point of leverage to where you can actually get at it. And so that means you're going to have a ratchet and your ratchet extender plugged in there, and you can steady that ratchet and put some monster torque on it, and this sucker is coming out one way or the other. So from the bottom this way, or mount it from the top to where you can be coming in from above the filter. Either way, these are great as well. That's a real heavy duty one. I've had it kind of stashed away. I don't think so now you know kind of all of the choices I've got. I've got these big heavy belt types. Got some smaller belt types for kind of smaller swing space, right? I like that. I've got the pivoting handle. If you can't swing your handle when it's in the extended position this way, then pivot it down. You have a whole lot less torque, but you can still get that filter off in limited space, right? All right, here's your standard filter wrench when you've got room, and this is one of those great big filters. Just remember that you probably need a big one and a little one to carry on your coach all the time. That guy's my standard go-to when I have space. Now you've got, for the tight space, a place where you can get a ratchet extender. I have a big long extender on it, and then I have a big heavy head ratchet. That ratchet is a 1/2 inch, and it's just got a lot of weight to it. That gives me the ability to put some real torque on these guys, and in restricted space, you've moved your access point away from where it's restricted. Now you have some open swing space, and you can get that ratchet around. And then finally, here is the one that we're going to be changing soon. That is the FleetGuard fuel water separator. And you can tell it has an electric plug on it and a separator. What you've got to do is unplug the electrical contact when you get started on this. If you're sliding your ratchet over the top like this, you're going to have that wire there. So simply unplug that sender, and then get your ratchet around it and get a big long extender on that guy and get it wrenched out. All right, that's kind of, just because we had some interest in how we get those filters off and what we choose to get them off. It's a different filter wrench in pretty much every situation. And on. All right, now here's where we filled the filter up with diesel fuel, and then bring the filter back up into this compartment, and then thread it right up onto these threads, and then tighten her up. Structurally strongest part of the filter, because I've crushed many filters with these wrenches, strap type or otherwise. Slip the filter wrench up over the filter again now that it is installed. Get as much play out of it as you can to tighten up, and now begin to tighten the filter. Now I'm pivoting the handle up just a little bit to be able to get a little more swing room, because I'm running into the back of the coach. Just keep tightening. And generally, I think they say after the seal contacts, you're looking at a 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn. I've been in contact with the seal the whole time, and so I'm about right there is going to be where you want to stop. All right, so now we've gotten the smaller full, that's just a fuel filter here for diesel. This one over here is a fuel water separator. We still have 2 months on it, and so I'm going to continue to drive with that. This one here we need a label on, and since I don't have a label right now with me, I'm going to mark it in black felt marker there. This one went on about 8/1. I'm going to say 7/31. Now we also just replaced the air filter again, and so I'm going to come back, and on this one and we've got that marked. I think that's all we can do here today. We finished up filling and installing our fuel filter, the main fuel filter for diesel here. We've tightened it up to a half turn beyond contact with the seal. We'll come back to this one in October, and meantime we're in pretty good shape. But right now I think we're done with this project, and so that's RV Shop and Chef saying thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button and like this video. Help us grow. Thanks again. Tschüss.